Alright. So, today we're going to talk about something a little controversial. And by a little, I mean a lot. This whole debate around the trans community, or things like transsexuals versus transgenders. Now, a little disclaimer, I honestly don't really care about these people. They're like, what? Or say I don't really, it's not that I don't care. How should I word this? I don't really discriminate. I just treat everybody the way I would want to be treated. That sort of deal. Okay, so what the hell am I doing? Okay, there's this retard I really don't want to activate.
I enjoy this work well enough, but I'm ready to retire. I've been thinking of selling the increase on that. Sure thing, it's yours for a day. Need anything else? Just let me know.
Now let's see. Basically, I see it like this. You got this group of people that say, well, we want equal rights, we want to be, just treated like everybody else. But then in the same breath, they turn around and demand special rights. Oh, well, now I believe I'm this, so you have to call me by this. No, I don't. And you know why? Because I'm not a child. We're not children. We don't play pretend here. Or you can play pretend with your little friends, fine. That's all well and good. But the second you start saying, oh, well, you have to pretend along with me. What? No, seriously, what? Why should I? Because I feel this, or it's always some variation of because I feel this, or in my heart I know this or that, or something very subjective to that specific person. There's nothing scientific about it. They just believe, so therefore you have to go along with it. Actually, no, I don't. And then, of course, there are the ones who say, oh, well, if you say the wrong thing, like this whole misgendering crap, that it's violence against them. No, it's not. Violence is physical. It is not verbal. Violence is if I physically started beating you in the face with a bat or something.
Look around. I'm sure you'll find what you're looking for. No, everything's for sale. Some may call this junk. Me, I call them treasures.
Okay? No. It's not violence for me not to care about your specific brand of oppression. It's not my job or my responsibility to make you feel good. It's just not. It really isn't. Just like it's not your responsibility to make me feel good either. Okay? Respect is earned, not freely given. That's really the point of it. Like, if you want to be treated like everybody else, fine, I will treat you like everybody else. I will call you ma'am, sir, if you're an authority figure anyway. Or, you know, guy or gal, or some variation of the two genders. And no, there is no such thing as a third gender, or the 40 million others that you seem to think there are. And especially with those idiots that think, oh, well, because I feel like I'm this gender, I just feel like I'm the opposite gender. If you look like a really ugly drag queen or something like that, then no. I'm sorry, but you do not pass for if you do not pass for the opposite gender, I probably wouldn't call you the opposite gender, alright? Granted, some women really do pass for men very easily, and dear God. Oof. Yeesh. But and some guys, yeah, same thing. They could pass for women. Now, if you can pass for a woman, and you're, you know, transgender or transsexual, what the hell ever, then just don't tell me. Just greet me like you would anyone. And I'll say, oh, hi. Now, if you're going to date someone, that's an entirely different story. Male or female. And there's a good reason for that. And it's not this whole phobic thing.
That's a good, the finest weapon in all.
Actually, a note on the whole transphobic, homophobic. No, there's no such thing, okay, as trans, or, well, I suppose there is such thing as a phobia. Yeah, of course there's such thing as a phobia, but I don't know anybody who's actually, you know, frightened by trans people. They don't automatically see a trans person and just shriek in horror or something like you would, I don't know, say a spider. Because a phobia implies an irrational fear of something.
Don't forget to check inside the shop if you need anything.
And honestly, multi-stream camp. Well, I gotta go there and collect the bounty anyway. Yeah, let's head out. Oh yeah, some guards and vampire, whatever. The reason why it's important if you're dating someone to divulge this information, especially if you plan on being intimate with them, is the fact that they're going to end up finding out one way or another. Especially if you haven't gotten all the surgeries yet. And if you try and bed them, basically. This is especially if you haven't gotten all the surgeries and all that. If you try and bed them, and they figure out, this is especially true of, guys that claim to be trans women. Yeah, you're... people don't like being lied to in general. Let's just put it that way. And some people react more violently than others. And in that case, justifiably so. But, and there's the big but here. Well, caveat here. Actually, I don't think there is a caveat here. It's just simple. Don't lie to people. Like, especially, say, you're a trans woman or trans man trying to date someone of the same gender. Let's face it, I don't believe in the whole idea of the I honestly don't believe in the whole idea of the what is that? Trans anything. But basically, if you're someone who likes to dress in drag and pretend they're a man or a woman, that's fine and dandy. But if you're going to be intimate with somebody, especially if that person, let's say, wants to have kids, and you're trying to make this a serious relationship, and it turns out that you're lying to them about which gender you were actually born as, ooh.
Those babies are cowards. You seem to be braver than most.
Well, I've spoken before about personal responsibility. You're taking your life in your own hands in that one. Just saying. Now, when it comes to, maybe just randomly hooking up with someone, I would still tell them. I mean, like, unless you can convincingly pass as the other gender, then it probably doesn't even matter, since it's only going to be a one-night stand anyway. So why the hell should anybody care? Or should I say, why the hell would either of you care? If it's going to be just a one-night stand, fine. Because there was never meant to be any connection anyway. Other than, a certain physical connection. Let's just put it that way. Alright. Piss off. Oh, I don't have a pickaxe. Okay, well, that complicates things a little. Not much, but a little. Okay, it wasn't a bounty, it was getting that guy's sword back. Works for me. Let's see. Whoops. No. So yes, do divulge that information. So yes, you have a responsibility to divulge that information if you're going to be intimate with somebody. And if you think you don't, you're just going to be, acting like a child and saying, I don't have to tell them. Well, then prepare for the consequences. Oh, you think there shouldn't be any consequences for trying to maintain this illusion while having an intimate relationship with someone? Well, that's your fantasy versus the reality. Or I should say that's your perception versus reality. And trust me, they are very much different. And if you think you shouldn't have to suffer any consequences for your decisions, then I really don't know what to tell you other than go fuck yourself. Seriously. You do not want to take responsibility for your own decisions, then you shouldn't even be in a relationship with anybody. You really shouldn't. Because you're not worth somebody's time or attention. Yeah, sure. I don't really believe in feelings all that much, especially love, because, well, let's face it, if the divorce rate is anything to go by, especially since 70% of the time it's women who initiate it, oddly enough, usually because they're not satisfied, like even just not being satisfied, it doesn't matter. It can be for the littlest things. I'll take that. Actually, I'm going to need this too. Even for the littlest fucking things. It actually is saddening. It really is. That's the reality. But it is reality. We have to deal with it. As I was saying, I don't really believe in emotions all that much, especially love, because of the fact of the unhappy marriages that happen all the time, or the 50+% rate of divorce, and the fact that it's 70% women who initiate divorce. I think of love as something that's just fleeting. It's just a chemical reaction where it helps, people to pair bond. It helps men and women pure bond because that's how the species reproduces. I know, it sounds very pessimistic of me, but given the state of the world today, it's difficult not to be. Anyhow. So it is for that reason that if you are this trans person looking to be in an intimate relationship with someone of the same gender, that you were born as, then honestly, you need to own up to that and tell them, look, this is the reality. I was born this, and
Bandits are desperate men. They have nothing to lose. Fight.
and honestly, they I don't know. I'm just lamenting the fact that, honestly, when I found out that love was the actual idea of love was pretty much dead, yeah, it hit me honestly like a fucking missile, but I've learned to come to grips with it. Any case, it is these feelings, even fleeting, that if you don't divulge to them your original gender, and they find out, and they get super pissed off and try and kill you or something, that's on you for not telling them. I'm not saying that, homicide is justifiable, but being super pissed off because you've been lied to is. And you might say, well, I didn't lie to them, I just didn't say anything. Yeah, it's called lying by omission. Even if you just selectively forget to mention something, that's still lying. Besides, relationships shouldn't, well, I mean, yeah, I suppose most relationships are based on lies and deceit. Or should I say they end there. So that's a logical place to start. But no. But if you actually want to have any hope of a long-lasting relationship that doesn't crash and burn in flames, then being honest is probably the best policy. Because yes, these trans people, fine. You want to be treated like everybody else. Then when you lie to someone, especially as big as that sort of lie is, and when you're trying to be intimate with them, then suffer the consequences as anybody else would. That's completely on you. There is no reason why you should have any special privileges or special treatment because of something that affects only you, basically. That's not life-threatening or something like that. That it's only something that you feel. You can't scientifically 100% factually prove it. You just feel it. Just like, I don't know, I suppose the feeling of love. Yeah, it turns out there is such thing as love. Unfortunately, it's only a chemical reaction, and it's fleeting at best. So, that's how that goes. You feeling like you're the opposite gender doesn't mean you are. And no one has to treat you any differently than they would a normal person. That's about all on that one. And as far as the whole transgender versus transsexual communities, whatever, I don't care. I am so jaded by seeing both of these groups basically just screech at the top of their lungs saying, oh, well, I'm oppressed and I have to be treated this way, or you have to, you have to call me by this, that, and the other thing, even though I look like a man or a woman. No, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to. And if you say, well, that's offensive, that you won't do that, you won't call me by this, that, or the other thing. Yeah, well, it's offensive to me that you would ever suggest I have to treat you any different than I would anybody else. Fuck you. We're even, alright? It's actually gotten to the point where I just want both sides to just nuke each other or something, so the rest of us can just get back to our normal daily lives and not have to worry about basically tripping on a landmine with these people. Especially the really loud, obnoxious types. Oh. I mean, you will it's as simple as you will just call them. Like, you'll pass them on the street, or like they'll be working and you see, oh, well, this person looks like a woman, I will address them as a woman, and then they just go fucking nuclear on you. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Where do you get off giving me this kind of attitude? Ugh. Seriously. And that's the general apathy I have to a lot of these social issues, honestly. Because they're not really issues, they're just people trying to get attention. Anyway, I have lots to do here, because I have, well, I have items to sell, spells to learn, and lots of prep to do for this character build. So, until next time, I have been Jaeger Bishop. And remember, respect does not need to be given, it's earned. Have a good day.